Welcome to ExamPrep.ai. I'm Michael Anuzis, the site's creator. I know you're excited to dive in and pass your exam, but let me share a few tips to help you take full advantage of what we have to offer. When starting out, you'll want to focus on the learn area first, where you'll find video lessons and short quizzes to help you master the material. You can take a quiz on any topic before watching the lessons to help ExamPrep.ai recognize what you already know and emphasize topics you still need to learn. You can repeat quizzes on any topic and practice fresh questions each time. Don't worry about grinding questions and trying to master everything before moving on. ExamPrep.ai tracks what you know and what you still need to work on. So you can move ahead and rest assured you'll get enough practice on every concept before taking on the exam. Whether you're just starting out or already have a head start on your studies, ExamPrep.ai quickly recognizes what you know and can help you make progress in multiple ways. You'll discover some on your own, but let me highlight a few. Adaptive quizzes emphasize topics you have yet to fully master and help ensure that time studying is always expanding your knowledge. Memory reinforcing quizzes give you repeat exposure to concepts that you may be at risk of forgetting and help you practice topics you haven't seen in a while. Mastery ranges estimate the score that you would receive on each area of the exam and can give you a big picture idea of where you may want to focus next. Your readiness rating predicts your readiness to pass the exam today, factoring in all practice across the site. Keep an eye on this for recommendations on the best activity to focus on to make the most of your time. The study guide is most helpful in your final stages of preparation, providing a comprehensive view of what you know and helping you hone in on topics you still need to master. Our focus is providing the most advanced exam prep experience available. While other sites focus on recreating the same lecture videos slightly better than each other, our CPA instructor is Nick Palazzolo, one of the top CPA tutors available. Nick has helped CPA candidates from all backgrounds pass the exams through one on one teaching. His lessons have a charming sense of humor, and his explanations are easy to understand. Nick's FAR lessons are organized into hundreds of short clips, and ExamPrep.ai emphasizes which you need to focus on, providing one of the fastest solutions to get you exam ready. We're excited to help you pass and provide a free trial long enough for you to learn your readiness rating, along with a detailed understanding of what you need to focus on to pass your exam. We review all feedback and content ratings within the site and are continually working to improve the experience. Thank you again for choosing ExamPrep.ai. Now let's meet Nick, your instructor.
Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Michael. Hey, all of you wonderful candidates tuning in today. Hi, Mom. Hi, everyone watching this video. Welcome to ExamPrep.ai, the #1 CPA exam review site for AI-enhanced tools that help you study smarter. Well, AI-enhanced tools, does that mean we have some algorithm jump into the system and take the test for you? Unfortunately, that is not allowed. If you are unwilling to accept these terms, please contact the AI CPA and make a complaint. With that being said, my name is Nick Palazzolo. Thank you for joining me. I myself am a survivor of the CPA exams, formerly at PwC in both tax and audit, and now here to be your guide through this wonderful journey of the CPA exam. And what is my job? My job is to, well, I guess I have a lot of jobs. It's to provide you with great content, demystify the exams for you, be your guide through this journey. And if that sounds good to you, sounds good to me. Let's jump in and talk a little bit more about that. As I'm sure you're aware, there are 4 wonderful, exhilarating exams to become a CPA. And today, I'm going to be discussing FAR with you. So if FAR is not your exam, just like the freshman who walked into the wrong class on the first day of the semester, now's your time to stand up and go find the right exam. With that being said, all of you, I assume, are here for FAR, so let's jump into a little bit of discussions with FAR. I like to say that the CPA exam has you wear a different hat depending on each exam. For Reg, you're wearing the hat of a tax accountant. You're thinking like a tax accountant. For audit, you're wearing the hat of an external auditor. For BEC, you're wearing the hat and thinking like a manager of a production plant or the head of finance for a large corporation. Lastly, for our wonderful exam today, FAR, this exam is going to have you thinking much like a financial reporting and analysis accountant. Sounds like a mouthful, right? This is actually a pretty common role at many companies. You might even have seen it plenty of times on LinkedIn. As a financial reporting and analysis accountant, presumably for a company, but we've also got non for profit and governmental, it is your job to present the financial statements properly to the users of the financial statements, be it investors or creditors, whoever it is, the auditors, right? So the reason this test can be so insanely daunting is the rules and requirements for presenting those financial statements properly vary so frequently depending on situation or a specific account or just some obscure rule. And we will go over those and many more throughout the exam together. I can give you a nice overarching view of the FAR exam, and that would be point number one is corporate or for profit accounting. Number two, we have non for profit accounting. And lastly, everyone's favorite, my favorite, it is a good time is governmental accounting. Reason being, it's just a little bit different from what we've seen in corporate accounting. Now, what do I want to share with you for the exam? Of course, I want to share everything. Let's talk about those important points for what you need to do to pass FAR. First, the AICPA recommends no less than 150 hours studying, and I gotta agree with them there. That's a reasonable estimate if you're unfamiliar with much of the material. Now, everyone's coming from a different situation. I get that. We're here to provide for those who are quite familiar with the material and those who are seeing it for the first time. This exam really does require some next level commitment. If you were not aware, I'm sure you are, though. If you are getting involved in this, you know that this is a lot of commitment, just like getting a new puppy, right? Except a little bit more like an aggressive attack dog. What about the timeline for your exam? That's a really good question. It's one I get often, and rightly so. How long should you spend studying? Should you cram a little bit more? Should you try to stretch it out as long as possible? Well, it really does depend on your situation. For those who are not working and can spend 8 hours a day studying, first off, all power to you and God bless you. I recommend sitting for the exam within a month to a month and a half of beginning. I have broken out study schedules and all of that, but that's a good general feel. For the all too common situation of all of the you wonderful candidates working full time, maybe you've got a family, right? You've got a lot going on. I would say anywhere from 2 to 3 months. Now, why do I say that? The longer the period, the worse off it is. This exam in particular is a beast. It's got an insane amount of content. Again, as you may be aware, and if you aren't, you will shortly see. And any longer than 3 months, and you really start to forget those material, those items and topics that you saw when you first started studying. In a perfect world, you would condense your studying down to as short of a period as possible. Human beings are not the best multitaskers, so trying to balance a family, social life, work, and studying for the exam, not really ideal. Well, that was timeline. What about the order of the exams? Again, another very valid question that I get a lot. And what I would say is the most common order is FAR, BEC, Reg, and then audit. Now, is there a perfect order for everyone? No. But is there a reason for that order in particular? Yes, there is. The first main point is you really want to separate out FAR and Reg. Why is that if you haven't guessed yet? That's because FAR uses accrual based accounting, whereas Reg uses cash based accounting. There are a lot of topics on both exams that ask the same question, however, use their own respective rules, and that can make it pretty tricky for you. You have a non monetary transaction question. Well, for FAR, we're going to be using a lot more fair value. For Reg, we're going to be using a lot more basis. That is going to be tricky. And what about separating them out, right? What about putting FAR first or Reg first? That's another common situation. I myself took Reg first because those two are viewed to be the beasts, the really more difficult exams. Not that audit and BEC are easy by any means. Again, you may be aware. So the thought process there is if you can pass Reg or FAR first, anyone can pass these exams, right? It's just time and commitment. But if you can get those through either of those two first, you're in a good situation to be able to get through all of the rest of the exams. Now, let's talk about some practical studying. What are you going to do when you sit down and actually grind out those 150 hours? That's pretty daunting, and you got to regiment yourself and be diligent on your studying. I do have recommendations, and those recommendations are to do one question, one after another, right? If you have to watch the lectures because you are not familiar with the topic, that's totally fine. However, what are you going to be doing in the exam? You're running through multiple choice questions and sims one after another. So really getting down in the nitty gritty, seeing the tricks that will throw at you through the questions, the ASCPA's provided questions will throw at you. That's going to be where your real most effective studying is, when you're drilling through questions. When I tutor and I work with students, that is strictly running through questions. It's showing the practical ways, using formulas, getting through those questions. That's super important. But again, we do have ample content of lectures, study guides, flashcards, everything. So use it as needed. Use what you need to get through. You know those areas that you're having a little bit more trouble in. So, I mean, a point on the lectures, we're not different. We're all human beings. I know how easy it is to zone out during watching lectures, and I get it. When you're doing multiple choice and sims, it's super practical. When you're not doing them, you know you're not, and you can't just zone out and say, "Oh, I studied." I mean, a last point I have here, and this is actually something I started to use in my studies, and I recommend to others, is do the multiple choice questions and then go and watch the lecture. Now, it may be a bloodbath, right? If you've never seen the questions before, you might get them all wrong, and that's fine. But what that allows you to do is you see the tricks, you see the important points that are asked in those multiple choice questions, and then when you go to the lectures, you know what to really look for. That being said, I've done my absolute best to make the lectures as practical as possible, really hitting on all of the most important points in multiple choice questions, but that rule still applies, and I think that would be a great way to approach them. You're going to get through this, right? This is a beast of an exam, but us here at ExamPrep.ai, we are here to be your one stop shop for all of the needs of your studies. Despite that, despite us having everything you need, plenty of students use our site as a supplemental resource because they're provided with a review course by their firm or company, and that's fine. That's totally quite all right. We really do cater to any student, any exam, any situation. So, with that being said, I welcome you. Explore the site. As I mentioned, we've got ample content. We've got study guides, flashcards, multiple choice questions, simulations, video lectures, and we've always got content continuously being added. With that, I can confidently say that you're in good hands. These hands right here. You can do this. I know you can do this. The CPA exam is a sacrifice, and if you're here, I'm sure you've made up your mind that it's already worth it to you. Use that motivation and our sound CPA exam review to carry you to success. Thank you all for joining in, and I'll see you throughout our various sections.